Hi students, in previous video we have seen 5 body systems out of 11, that is cardiovascular system, digestive system, endocrine system, integumentary system and lymphatic system. In this video we will see remaining 6 systems. First is muscular system. Its components are skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, cardiac muscles and tendons. Tendons are nothing but it is a flexible tissue that joins muscle to a bone. Coming to its functions, first is movement. Our muscles work together with our bones to produce body movements like walking, running, lifting, jogging, etc. Next function is posture maintenance. For example, when you sit in a chair with your back straight, your back and abdominal muscles are quietly working to keep your spine upright. Okay, if those muscles didn't work properly, you would slump or fall down. You cannot able to maintain a straight posture. Next is heat production. Every time when a muscle contracts, it uses energy. Where this energy will come from? It will come from food we eat and oxygen we breathe. Only a smaller amount of this energy is used for movement, whereas larger part of this energy is released as heat. Think once why our body will start shivering in cold climate. Why? Because when we are cold, our muscles do tiny fast contractions called shivering. This shivering generates heat quickly to warm up our body. And one more thing is, this heat generated by our muscles is responsible for maintaining normal body temperature, that is 37 degrees Celsius, optimal body temperature. And this optimal temperature is very important for all our organs to work properly. Next function is involuntary movements. It is not at all possible for us to control our heartbeat. Why? Because our cardiac muscle contracts on its own without our consciousness. Even when we are sleeping, it won't stop contracting. One more example is peristaltic movements. Once we chew and swallow our food, how do you think food get passed throughout our digestive tract? Smooth muscles are the ones who is responsible for passage of food throughout our digestive tract by peristaltic movements. These movements are completely involuntary movements. Okay. Next system is nervous system. Its components are brain, spinal cord and nerves, and its functions are sensory input, integration and motor output. Sensory input nothing but receiving the information, integration nothing but understanding and processing that information, and motor output is nothing but response. To understand this clearly, let me give you an example. You are standing in front of your house under a tree, and some kids are playing with a ball beside you. Suddenly you saw that a ball was approaching towards you with high speed. In this scenario, sensory input is given by your eyes. What your eyes will do is, your eyes send a message to your brain like a ball is coming. Now your brain will process this information, which we call as integration. Your brain calculate the speed, distance and direction of the ball and tell you, go and catch the ball before it hits you. Now what you will do? You will move your hands quickly to catch the ball. This action is motor output. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next function is reflex action. A reflex action is a quick automatic response to a stimulus that doesn't involve the brain. For example, when you touch a hot vessel, your sensory neurons send messages to spinal cord. Now, the interneurons in the spinal cord will process the information and send motor output to muscles to pull away your hand before you even feel the pain. Only difference between sensory input process and reflex action is your brain involvement. In sensory input process, information is processed by your brain, whereas in reflex action, information is processed by interneurons in your spinal cord. Next is coordination and control. For suppose you're riding a bicycle. To ride a bicycle smoothly, your legs, arms, eyes should work together in coordination with nervous system. Then only you can ride a bicycle smoothly. Next function is homeostasis maintenance. Homeostasis means keeping the internal environment of our body stable, like water level, stable temperature, optimal blood pressure, these things. For suppose in summer, when our body temperature exceeds normal 37 degrees temperature, what our sensory receptors do is they'll present in the skin feel heat and send this info to brain process the information and motor nerves send output signals to sweat glands. Our body will start sweating and this sweating process will cools up the body, thereby maintaining optimal body temperature. Next function is mental activities like memory. We'll remember our friends' names, family members' names, their faces, their hairstyle, and the topics we learnt in our school. Everything, right? All these things were done by hippocampus of our brain. In the same way, thinking. Thinking is done by cerebrum of our brain. And emotions like anger, grief, fear, all these emotions were controlled by limbic system. And decision making is done by frontal lobe of our brain. Next system is respiratory system. Its components are lungs, pharynx, larynx, trachea and bronchi. Its functions are gaseous exchange. When we inhale, air enters our lungs carrying oxygen. In the alveoli, oxygen moves into our blood, and at the same time, carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the alveoli. And when we exhale, this carbon dioxide leaves our body. Okay. Next is breathing. Breathing nothing but the process of both inhalation and exhalation. Next function is regulation of blood pH. What is the pH of our blood? It is around 7.3 to 7.4. The blood pH is altered by level of carbon dioxide. How means this carbon dioxide along with water forms the carbonic acid and alters the pH. If blood is too acidic, we will breathe faster so that carbon dioxide gets removed. This raises the pH back to normal. Similarly, if blood is too basic, we will breathe slower, keeping more CO2. This lowers the pH again back to normal. Next is voice production. When we exhale or breathe out, air from our lungs moves up through trachea, then passes through larynx, which we called as voice box. Inside the larynx, there are two thin vocal cords. When air passes through these vocal cords, they'll vibrate and produces the sound. This sound is then shaped by our mouth, tongue and lips to make meaningful words. Next is olfaction. Nose is also a part of respiratory system, right? Olfactory receptors are present inside our nose. When air enters into the nose, small particles in the air stick to these receptors and send signals to the brain. And brain process this and recognize various types of smells. Last is protection. Tiny heads present inside our nose and the cilia present in the airways traps the dust and dirt particles, thereby protecting our respiratory system. Next system is a reproductive system. It has again two subtopics, male reproductive system and female reproductive system. First we will see male reproductive system. Its components are testis, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland and penis. Coming to its functions. First function is production, storage, maturation and transportation of the sperm. The process of sperm production, also called as spermatogenesis, is take place in the seminiferous tubules. Once the sperm cells are produced, sperm cells from the testis moves into the epididymis where they mature and get stored. Maturation here allows sperm to gain motility and the ability to fertilize an egg. The mature sperm then transports from the epididymis to the ejaculatory duct during ejaculation. In male reproductive system, urethra is the common duct for both urine and semen. Through urethra, matured sperm after mixing with fluids from the accessory glands, moves out of the body through the penis during the process of ejaculation. Accessory glands in male reproductive system are seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral glands. Seminal vesicles adds a sugary fluid to nourish sperm and help it to move, and prostate glands adds an alkaline fluid to semen to protect the sperm from vaginal acidity. Next is bulbourethral glands. These glands release a clear fluid that lubricates the urethra and neutralizes any traces of acidic urine. Next function is hormone production. Leydig cells present inside the testis produces testosterone, which is the key male hormone under the hormonal regulation of hypothalamus and pituitary gland. This testosterone plays a central role in male reproductive functions and development of secondary sexual characteristics. Other functions are ejaculation and sexual function. Next we'll see female reproductive system. Its components are ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina and mammary glands. Its functions are production of eggs. Women are born with all the eggs they'll ever have stored in their ovaries. Each ovary contains thousands of follicles and each follicle contains an immature egg. Immature egg is known as oocyte. Okay, during the menstrual cycle, one follicle matures and releases an egg, and this process is called ovulation. Ovulation releases a mature egg from the ovary. Next is hormone production. Ovaries secrete female sex hormones called estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen develops and maintains female characteristics and regulates the menstrual cycle. Meanwhile, progesterone prepares the uterus for pregnancy after ovulation process. Next is fertilization. Fertilization was happened inside the fallopian tube. Next is support of fetal development. All the hormones like progesterone, estrogen, these hormones will support the fetal development. Next is menstruation. This progesterone and luteinizing hormone and estrogen will regulate the menstrual cycles. Childbirth and lactation. Prolactin and oxytocin are the two hormones which plays a key role during lactation and childbirth. And last function is sexual function. That's it. And our next system is skeletal system. Components of the skeletal system are bones, joints and cartilages. The functions of a skeletal system are, first thing is support. The skeleton provides a structural framework for our body. It supports soft tissues and gives the body its shape. Without the skeleton, our body would collapse. Next function is protection. Bones protect vital internal organs, like skull protects the brain, ribcage protects the heart and lungs, vertebrae protects the spinal cord, and pelvis protects the reproductive organs. Next function is movement. I already said you earlier, right? Tendons are the ones which joins muscles to bones. So these tendons, when muscle contract, the tendons attach both muscles and bones, right? So they'll pull on the bones to create the movement. The skeletal system and muscular system together usually we'll call it as musculoskeletal system. Okay. Next is mineral storage. Bones acts as a reservoir for minerals, especially calcium and phosphorus. These minerals are released into the bloodstream whenever needed to maintain the homeostasis. Next function is blood cell production. The process of blood cell production we call as hematopoiesis. This occurs in the red bone marrow, found in certain bones like pelvis, ribs, sternum and vertebrae. They produces blood cells, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Next is energy storage. As the red bone marrow plays a role in blood cell production, likewise yellow bone marrow plays a role in energy storage. Yellow bone marrow stores fats in the form of adipose tissues, which serves as an energy reserve whenever necessary. Next and last body system is urinary system. Its components are kidneys, uterus, urinary bladder and urethra. Its functions are removal of waste products. The kidneys filter waste from the blood like urea, creatinine, uric acid, drugs and other toxins. These wastes are excreted in the form of urine. Next function is regulation of water and electrolyte balance. This process was done by a hormone called antidiuretic hormone. We'll see this later in future videos. Next is regulation of blood pressure. The kidneys will regulate the blood pressure by controlling the blood volume with the help of an enzyme called renin, and this renin activates the RAS system, which is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. This one also we'll see in the future videos. Next is regulation of blood pH. Blood pH was regulated by excreting hydrogen ions and reabsorbing bicarbonate ions from the urine into the blood, thereby maintaining urine pH in normal range. Next is hormone production. The kidneys produce or activate several important hormones like erythropoietin. This stimulates the production of red blood cells in bone marrow, and renin. This helps in regulation of blood pressure. Last is detoxification. The kidneys filter and eliminate toxins including metabolic waste, drug metabolites, environmental toxins. So they work alongside with the liver in detoxifying our blood. Our next topic is basic life processes. There are 6 basic life processes which are essential for the survival and functioning of all living organisms. These processes differentiate living things from non-living things. Let us see one by one. These 6 are metabolism, responsiveness, movement, growth, differentiation, and reproduction. First one is metabolism. Metabolism refers to all the chemical reactions that occur in our body to maintain the life. Usually, these metabolic reactions are categorized into 2 types. One is anabolic reactions and second is catabolic reactions. Anabolic reactions involves the synthesis of or building of complex molecules from simpler molecules. For example, proteins. Proteins are complex molecules. These were synthesized from amino acids, which are simpler molecules. Group of amino acids combine together to form a protein. For this process, they will consume energy in the form of ATP. Second is catabolism. Catabolism involves breakdown of complex molecules into simpler molecules. For example, glucose gets breakdown into sequential steps to produce ATP. In this process, they will release the energy in the form of ATP. This energy is utilized while anabolic reactions are undergoing. Second life process is responsiveness. It is also known as irritability. It is the ability of an organism to detect and respond to external or internal environmental changes. In simpler terms, we can say adapting to the changes in the environment. For example, if any object is coming towards our eyes, it will blink or close our eyes to avoid the danger. This process is also a kind of responsiveness. Next is sweating and shivering. These 2 topics we have already discussed while explaining the body systems. Next one is increased heart rate during exercise. This is also a kind of responsiveness. Whenever we do vigorous exercise, automatically our heart rate starts increasing. This is because to effectively pump the blood to all the parts in our body. Third basic life process is movement. It refers to an ability of an organism to change position or else travel from one place to another place. Movement is basically of 3 types: external movement, internal movement, and cellular movement. External movement refers to movement of a whole body or whole body parts. For example, while walking, running, swimming, crawling will move our whole body, right? Second one is internal movement. That is movement within our body, like breathing, movement of air from nostrils to the lungs. Next, circulation of blood. Next, movement of food through digestive system, which is also known as peristaltic movement. Next is cellular movement. This is movement at the cellular level called chemotaxis. Nothing but migration of a white blood cells in response to chemical stimulus is known as chemotaxis. Next is sperm cell movement. Sperm cells will move using a tail-like structure called flagellum. Their movement is essential for reaching and fertilizing the egg during reproduction. Next is cilia movement in the respiratory tract. Cilia are tiny hair-like structures. They help to trap the dust and dirt particles or bacteria out of the lungs, keeping our respiratory system clean. One more example is cell division. Chromosomes and organelles are moved to different parts of the cell during the cell division process, like in the phases of anaphase, telophase, metaphase, these phases. Why? Because so that it ensures that new cells get the correct genetic material and cell components. Fourth basic life process is growth. Growth is a fundamental life process that refers to increase in the cell size or increase in the cell mass. Growth is of two types: positive growth and negative growth. Positive growth is like when a child is getting taller. During childhood, child is just 2 feet or 3 feet long, right? But when the child grows, height may increase to 5 feet or 6 feet. This is known as positive growth. Coming to negative growth. If a person is on prolonged illness, he might lose his muscle mass. This is an example for negative growth. Next basic life process is differentiation. It is the process by which unspecialized stem cells develop into specialized cells with distinct structures and functions. For example, bone marrow. Bone marrow produce hematopoietic stem cells. These hematopoietic stem cells will again divide into two types: lymphoid progenitor cells and myeloid progenitor cells. Lymphoid progenitor cells will produce or differentiate into T cells and B cells, whereas myeloid progenitor cells gets differentiated into erythrocytes, monocytes, neutrophils, platelets, etc. Differentiation is responsible for development of a complete organism from a single fertilized egg cell. Next and last process is reproduction. It is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals, nothing but new generation or new offsprings. With one more definition, we can say reproduction. It is the generation of new cells for growth, cellular repair and maintenance. For example, when we have any cut or scar in our skin cells will get replaced with new cells in few days. This process is reproduction. Next is red blood cells also continuously replaced as old ones die. Similarly, lining of our intestines also renewed regularly. Okay students, this is all about all the 6 basic life processes. That's all about today's video. In the next video we'll see the process of homeostasis. Thank you.